Hey, good morning to everybody. Daryl P here, aka Artist in Recovery, and I'd like to share a Beau of the Fifth Column video that I found with you guys. I found this on Facebook, and I want to share with you guys. Let me tell you how I found it. I was searching for Beau talking about making YouTube videos because I was interested in making a video, and I wanted to see how it could relate to my channel and his channel. And I did come across this video. The link will be right down below. Now, the thing is, I'm not sure, but I don't think this video is in his usual lineup on YouTube. Like I said, I found this on Facebook. It looks just like his regular videos, same background, same format and everything. Although there's a few differences. It's over 10 minutes long, which makes me think it probably wasn't in the usual lineup. And it doesn't talk about politics or current events. He gives 13 tips on making a YouTube channel. Okay, now when I first saw this, I was hesitant to talk about it because most of you aren't making a YouTube channel. But after I watched the video a couple times, I watched the whole thing through about 3 or 4 times because I was in anticipation and preparing to make this video. And I realized that I think a lot of you, or most of you, will find it interesting because he talks, and giving these 3 tips, he gives kind of an inside look on his thoughts on his own channel, and the stuff he's learned, and really the stuff that's drawn us to his videos is really what he's talking about. So, after thinking about it, I was like, no, I think the average Beau of the Fifth Column viewer, or just viewer in general, will find it interesting, and especially Beau of the Fifth Column fans. I think he's talking about the stuff that drew you. I think that drew most of us to the channel. A lot of the things. Okay, let me talk about this. I always think I see pictures of people my age, and I think they're old. I don't know if some of you experience this. I'm going to be 60 in January. All right, so how old do you think Beau is? All right, I thought he was my age, or maybe a little younger. As far as I could figure out, and I don't know if this is exactly true or not, but as far as I could figure out, he's 46. 46, so he's 13 freaking years younger than me, which makes me feel even older. Okay, let me give you a little background here. My channel's been monetized for about 6 years, and the only reason I've gotten any traction on YouTube, I'd still be getting like 10 views a video if it weren't for Beau of the Fifth Column. The first time I saw him, I did a video talking about it, and I'll put the link to that. I'll put Beau's video and his 13 tips right down below, the Facebook link, and I'll put my video that I'm talking about, the first time that I talked about Beau of the Fifth Column, because he saw my video and he featured it on his channel. I think it's the 10 videos that talk about me. I think that's how Beau listed it. My video still might be there. It's 10 videos that talk about him, and I think mine was number 10 last time I looked. And my channel took off. That video has gotten almost 170,000 views so far. It's gotten 11,000 likes. It's gotten 3,000 comments. And that's what enabled me to get monetized. In order to get monetized, you need at least 1,000 viewers or subscribers. You need 300 hours of watch time average. Like in any 12-month period, you need an average of 300 hours people are watching your videos per month. 300 hours per month, which isn't all that easy. I think this month I've got about 490 hours people have watched my videos. Okay, I guess I'll just get into this. I wish I watched this video before I even made my first video. I wish I watched these tips. I could relate to every single one of them. All right, like I said, you can watch this video yourself. The link's right down below. Number 1, he says, be authentic. He talks about how he started his channel on a lark. He was goofing on himself. He started out by being like a goofy hillbilly character, and it evolved into him just being himself. And he talks about how people aren't as good as actors as they think they are. Talking about himself. And he eventually just kind of became himself, and that's what drew people. That's what drew me. I was like I talk about in my video, my first video. Let's talk about Beau of the Fifth Column. I talk about how I was ready to start rage commenting. You know, I see this guy, I see how he looks, and I'm stereotyping. I got caught out stereotyping, stone cold, and I talk about that in my video. And I was so wrong. You know, Beau was not the guy I thought he was, and that's what I talk about in my video. But he talks about being authentic. You know, I've talked about such personal things on this channel. You know, at almost 60 years old, I really just don't care anymore. You know, I am who I am. I'm confident of who I am, you know, so I talk from my heart, you know, and more than anything, I like talking about my mistakes in hopes of helping other people. Okay, number 2, stay in your lane. Now, this is one where I've made mistakes. 2 of my biggest interests are recovery. I've been clean and sober for 19 years, completely clean and sober from heroin and cocaine, crack cocaine. And that's one of my biggest, you know, that's one of the reasons I made this channel. But once I got clean and sober, I also got an interest in the world around me, in politics, in the government, in history, and all that stuff. You know, and it drew me into being a liberal, you know, talking about liberal politics and progressive politics. I actually, first time I ever voted, I voted for Ronald Reagan when I was 18 years old, back in 1984. Which is shameful. But stay in your own lane. You know, don't, once you pick, you know, like he talks about politics and current events, and he talks a little bit about rescue and stuff like that, but, you know, that's his lane. If you start changing around, you're going to lose viewers. You know, you might pull in some new ones, but, you know, people aren't going to know what to expect from you. Bad idea. You know, pick a topic and stick with it. And I've messed up on that. You know, I've even done videos where I do magic or talk about paranormal stuff, you know. And all I can say in my defense is I am who I am. I know it's hurt my channel, but I got to be me. Okay. A posting schedule. You know, I get up at 2 a.m. or even before that, 1:30, because I know people, as soon as I download my video, I actually see the first views coming in and the first comments coming in the first couple minutes, and that's the best feeling in the world. You know, and I feel I owe these, you know, that's what gets me up in the morning, because even if it's just a couple people, they're expecting a video from me, you know, so I want to give them the best video I can. One of the things I saw about making a video, YouTube video, is you have to provide the viewer, you don't have to, but the idea is to provide the viewer with something, you know, humor, laughs, history, knowledge. But, you know, you're providing something to the viewer, something of value, something they'd like in their lives. Okay, so I post early, you know, and I posted at my first video a couple days ago. I posted it at, I think it was 11 or 12 noon, and it got terrible views. And that's just an example of it. You know, you got to stick to your schedule. Okay, nobody cares about you. That's, I think it's number 5 on Beau's list of YouTube channel things. And that's the truth. I never use me or I or my, you know, videos where I talk about myself, or I use those words, especially in the title, gets terrible views. That's what he sees. You know, Beau said that. Nobody cares about you, and it's the truth. Okay, be relatable. You know, admit that you've made mistakes, and God knows I've made a lot of mistakes. Don't be sensational. You know, don't be like a one-hit wonder where you just make one, or where you, what's it called? Clickbait. Don't be clickbaity. You know, don't make it sound like the world's ending in every video. People get tired of that. People, you know, people see that right away. It gets boring. It's, you know, they can't, you're being dishonest, really, you know, and that's one thing I prided myself on in this channel is I've been completely as honest as, you know, as honest as I know I can be. You know, if I said anything that wasn't true, I believed it. You know, it's something I believe. But anyway, okay. Algorithm is a thing. Okay, and he talks about algorithms. That's kind of boring. He talks about how the algorithms basically want to keep you watching YouTube for as long as possible. That's why whenever I don't mind if I get people that hate me or people that like me. You know, as long as they're like, when you're commenting on my comments, that the clock's running, that you're watching the YouTube, you know, that counts as minutes. So you could go to comments and curse me out and call me whatever you want, because I'm actually getting paid while you're doing that. So that's fine. If you want to talk, I don't get paid by likes or stuff, or smiley faces or stuff like that. You could say whatever you want because I'm getting paid while you're commenting. Okay, Easter eggs. This is one thing that I just never did good. I'm creative, but I've just never really done good at this. He talks about his t-shirts. I always wonder what Beau the Fifth Column's closet looks like, because he wears different t-shirts that go along with whatever topic he's talking about. And I think to myself, where did he get all these t-shirts? And where does he put all these t-shirts? He talks about the upside down badge, Curious George badge on his baseball cap. And for those of you that aren't knowledgeable of this, that's when he's doing he's being facetious, I guess you could call it. He's not being serious. He's being, I guess, sarcastic, I guess would be a word for it. So if his little Curious George patch is upside down on his baseball cap, and these are things viewers love. Or he said, keep the same things in the background, stuff like that. Easter eggs. I'm not good at Easter eggs. I'd like to get better at that. Each video needs to stand on its own. That goes to that. In other words, don't do part one, part two. Don't connect each video to the next one, because nobody wants to jump into a video and be lost. Where you have to start watching from the very you have to watch the previous videos to know what he's talking about. Okay, identify what you want out of your platform. And to be honest with you guys, initially I just wanted to help at least one person. To be honest, I would love for someone out there to learn from my mistakes, to learn. That would make all the mistakes and suffering and stuff I've been through about the 2 decades of using, that would make it worthwhile if I could help somebody, or I don't want to say save somebody, but if they could avoid some of the horrific things that I've gone through by learning from my mistakes, that would be the biggest accomplishment. So that's it doesn't have to do with politics, unfortunately. So I'm kind of torn between recovery and politics. Okay, he says only make a video where you add to. Don't. What he's saying in this one is only make a video where you're adding something to the story, where you have something to say. That's like, I don't like making videos. I won't make videos where I just sit here and repeat a story. Like I'm a half-ass reporter, where I just sit here and tell you about a story that you've already heard about. I won't do that. That's not who I am. That's not what this channel's about. And that's what he says. Don't make a video. Don't make a video unless you can give the viewer something, that they haven't gotten before, something they haven't heard before. Okay, experiment lightly. And I talked about this in my last Beau the Fifth Column videos. Your brand. Do not change your brand. Do not change your background. People do not like change. Keep your same profile picture, like with Beau knocking back his drink there, or me with an orange tank top. That's my profile pic. Do not, experiment. Don't change things. I agree with that 100%. Ignore the money. That's the last one. And if I were to be honest with you guys, I'd say in 1 year, I make less than 4 figures, like under $999. Definitely under in a year, well under $9,999 in a year. So take, I don't want to get too. The money I made from this channel, I'm never going to get rich. I won't even pay all my bills, but I use it to buy stuff for my hobbies. I've used it to buy bikes, mountain bikes. I've used it to buy TVs, big screen TVs. I've used it to buy Christmas presents. It comes in handy, but I'm never going to get rich unless, all of a sudden something huge happens and I become, somebody else tomorrow that everybody watches. Okay, that's pretty much it, but I wanted to add 2 more really quick. I saw a video once where a guy, I think it was a flat earther. I don't know if he was for flat earth or against it, but he was just bitching and moaning about his views. He was complaining that other people get more views and they do the same content. And that turned me off so badly. So I've always kept that in my head, because you got to remember, I'm not just a creator, I'm a viewer too. I watch videos just like everybody else. And that just turned me off huge, where he was almost yelling at the viewer. And that's ridiculous too, because he's yelling at the wrong person. The people that are watching his videos are the people that are watching his videos, you know. So he's complaining about people not watching his videos. So they aren't even watching, you know what I mean? He's yelling at the wrong people. He's turning off the wrong people. It's something that really stuck in my mind. Okay, and the last thing that Beau didn't point is making short videos, which is I'm up to 15 minutes. And every minute I go longer, I lose viewers. I found that, you know, like my shorter videos get way more viewers. Make videos shorter. So on that last point, I am going to cut this video off. The links are all down below to this Facebook. Beau the Fifth Column talks about 13 tips on making YouTube videos right down below. My video, let's talk about Beau the Fifth Column, right down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back with another one. Have a great Wednesday.